Okay, I'm just gonna start this video because, uh, if I don't get started, you know, things will never happen. So, uh, yeah, just give me a few moments and then I'll begin. Uh, I mean, my past video, it didn't get that many, well, it only got 2 views, with the average view time only being 9 seconds. So, I forgot how long the video was. I think it was, I don't know. I think it was I don't remember. Okay, I think it was 4 minutes. Like that is coming across pretty clearly to me, but of course I won't know until I check. Um, the thing is, from that video and up till now, I I basically gained some like new understandings, uh, and views as well. So, uh, because of that progress, I'm able to make this video now, and hopefully, first of all, it will be much more interesting, much less redundant, and thirdly, I will try to be a little bit more cheerful and less serious, even though technically what I talk about is not, well, it's not going to necessarily bring you the most joy, maybe at first, or maybe for some of you it will, but let's see how this goes. And yeah, I welcome any comments and questions. In fact, I would love it if any of you could would be willing to ask anything that you guys are confused about. In some cases, I may, yeah, and also I hope my voice. It's also a little bit like how it was last time, but I hope it doesn't deter um you guys from watching the entire video because uh try to go past how my voice sounds and just like listen to the message. I know it's not, like last video, it wasn't really pleasant to hear my voice, and maybe and certainly also this video. And yeah, but I just hope you can listen to the message, and uh and you're listening to my voice, I guess. So um yeah, and it also tends to not normally be like this, my voice. Okay, I'll begin now. So uh first of all, and also like this is supposed to be a single video, but um I don't have probably fast Wi-Fi, so I'll have to probably split into 2 videos, so that it's not too long. Uh, which is also good for viewers. If they want to watch more, they can continue. If they don't want to, they can, decide to not watch the second part. Um, so first of all, I'd like to, you know, praise the Lotus Sutra for its for all the benefits it has given me. I encountered the Lotus Sutra maybe like 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago. And yeah, there was a great, you know, a lot of suffering since then, and actually, happy times were few and far between. Especially like maybe more recently, like I could never get like, you know, and not just recently, but like I haven't had good sleep in the past years. Really, I don't think there was ever like a time that I had good sleep for even even for just 1 week in a row. I don't think there was. But it has been a lot of suffering, and I think finally I've made some breakthroughs, huge breakthroughs actually, and part of that breakthrough is deciding to finally speak on the Lotus Sutra, and I guess preach it in a way, and also maybe other sutras as well. But for now, I've only really like I've been focusing on the Lotus Sutra. Uh, so yeah, I just want to, and I cannot praise the sutra enough. I think even now I'm completely underestimating its benefits because they haven't manifested fully. But yeah, the Lotus Sutra is absolutely I think the benefits that it can provide people are immeasurable. Uh, but I'm just gonna stop here. Um, okay, so I'd like to talk about 6 points, and basically, yeah, I'd like to talk about 6 points. I think in this video I'll cover the first three, and then the second part I'm gonna cover the last three. Uh, if we look at chapter 17 of the Lotus Sutra, distinctions and benefits, it says, quoting, uh, they will also see this Saha world, its ground of lapis lazuli, level and well adorned, and well ordered, the Jambanata gold bordering its 8 highways, the rows of jeweled trees, the terraces, towers, and observatories, all made of jewels, and all the multitude of bodhisattvas who live in their midst. If there are those who are able to see such things, you should know that it is a mark of their deep faith and understanding. So, um, basically, this is like one of the benefits of practicing Buddhism and practicing the Lotus Sutra. Uh, yeah, um, you know, if you practice this Lotus Sutra, you will be able to, you know, see this world uh, in a much more beautiful way. Things that might bring other people darkness, you would still see light in those circumstances. Even nighttime, you will not feel like scared necessarily. You wouldn't see it as like a bad or negative thing in any way. Um, because yeah, what it says here is true. Like what is going on inside your mind affects how you see the outside world so much. And yeah, I can't even fully express it. But basically, at this point in time, there are manifest effects. Um, I recommend you to go through the sutra passage as well while I'm talking on this. I'll put the link in the description below. But basically, yeah, at this point in time, there are manifest effects for the bodhisattva, and their power of meditation or absorptive capacities are strong enough that even in circumstances where other people would feel slightly, dejected or a little bit more down than usual, for example, during the winter times or nighttime, the bodhisattva is still able to be joyful, is still able to see, things in a positive light, or at least they will obtain happiness from such circumstances. Uh, if we look at chapter 4, the title is Belief and Understanding. I like to say faith and understanding. Now, this is very important. Basically, this repeats what it said in the last part of the chapter 17 passage. It is a mark of their deep faith and understanding. So, faith and understanding, and actually, faith means doing something even if you don't, necessarily know what its effects are going to be, or, basically just doing something on trust to a certain extent. And then understanding is, the understanding here means manifest effect. It's not just like a understanding of, oh, okay, I know, I know that it is like this because of this way, or I know these processes because a science teacher told me. This is my understanding of it. And yes, like maybe before you took the class you didn't know it, and afterwards you learned from the teacher and you understood that process. But you don't really understand the process. Like you have never actually seen it with your own eyes, If it's a biology class and you're doing an experiment, you haven't actually seen those, like microorganisms with your own eyes. Like sure, you can see them through the microscope. I think it's called microscope. Um, but I mean that's not a really good analogy, but it has is basically the same idea. Um, in Normally, like we think of understanding as just on a conceptual, intellectual level, but In this case, understanding actually means manifest effect. So basically, if you believe in the Lotus Sutra and you carry out, the practices written in the Lotus Sutra, without being extreme or radical, you're right, that's not the middle way. Um, so you don't want to be extreme, but if you do what you can in accordance with the Lotus Sutra, so you do the practices which fit your which fit your level of understanding, level of faith, and which fit your level of current practice. But a little higher than that, that's where the faith comes in, or something new. Then eventually you'll gain understanding, which is manifest effect, and that is why, um, the Bodhisattva is able to see the Saha world as it was described in chapter 17, because of their um, meditative capacities, which stem from um, meditative capacities, the manifest effect, which stem from their belief, which led them to take actions that they didn't necessarily understand when they were taking them. Uh, yeah, this is getting a little long. The next points I'll try to make shorter, but I'll make it so short that hopefully it'll be much more enjoyable to listen to and you can understand it more clearly. I promise. But I'll just move on to the next point relating to this. So, for example, in the Vimalakirti Sutra, in the first chapter, Shariputra, the Buddha's foremost disciple when it came to wisdom, uh, yeah, basically, the Shariputra saw the world full of, as we see the world now, the ground is not level. There are no jeweled trees anywhere. Um, but basically, uh, the Buddha's like my mind is pure, so I'm able to see this world as a world of perfection, as a completely pure world. Um, so this is basically the Buddha's powers of projecting what is inside the mind onto the outside world. So it is reflected. And this also has to do with meditative capacity. Obviously, the Buddha's meditative capacity is, it's inconceivable and it's immeasurable, greater than all other beings' meditative capacities. Even if they were all combined, still could not match what the Buddha is able to achieve. So basically, the Buddha, um, you know, can live in this this manifestly impure world, and still they can see the world can be completely unaffected by these world's manifest impurities because of their capacity of meditation. So even while all of these, and these litter on the road, and then all these disgusting things might be everywhere. Like obviously some cities are really clean, but if we go to like poverty ridden areas, for example, even if all those things are there, um, the Buddha's mind is still completely joyful and unaffected by all of those manifestations. Um, and then uh, the second way of seeing the purity that the Buddha, said he was able to see because of the strength and purity of his mind, is the manifest purity that the Buddha used his toe uh, to actually cause throughout the entire world. So the first one is the Buddha's powers of meditative capacities, and so his equanimity towards all the manifest impurity and his complete and equanimous joy regarding that. And the second is they were able to actually manifest that in the world through their the supernatural powers which came from the Buddha's toe. Um, and that's the manifest purity, which the Buddha was also very capable of doing, clearly. Like, that was a literal passage. Some people take it figuratively, but I take it literally. That was a literal passage. The Buddha can change the entire world into a form that was manifest into a form of purity in a manifest way. Okay, now point two and point three I'll try to make much briefer. Point two. So there are eight difficulties in Buddhism, and the foremost difficulty among these eight is that there is no Buddha in the world. Except the problem is there is always the Buddha in the world. Um, so, uh, for example, chapter 16 of the Lotus Sutra, the lifespan of the Thus Come One, it says in these exact words, "I'm always here preaching the law." So these eight difficulties, where the lack of Buddha is is the greatest of the eight difficulties. Actually, that doesn't truly exist. The Buddha is always existing, and is always preaching, um, through causing suffering to others, or through bringing joy and different benefits based off of people's endurance of sufferings, and not necessarily always suffering. Like you can make progress joyously as well. But yeah, through one's practice. So the Pure Land School is I think what the Pure Land School teaches is extremely wonderful because um you know basically because the Pure Land School exists, we know that there are Buddha lands where everything is absolutely um manifestly pure. Um and I think that that's absolutely wonderful. Except I say to those Pure Land believers, why don't we see the that purity right now, right here? Why don't we try at least? Why don't we see others as bodhisattvas, smile at strangers? Why don't we try to make that pure land exist right now, right here in this world? I mean, to the extent that you can, just a little bit every day, just a little bit when you go out, smile at a stranger, something, or try to appreciate the nature, try to get happiness from your surroundings when you go out, and try to see the pure land. Or just tell yourself while walking and while smiling, if you can, this is the pure land right here, I'm in the pure land, or this will very soon become the pure land, something like this. Okay, now point three. uh Point three is, you must not fail to practice the four Brahma Viharas, or four Brahma abodes, uh you know towards yourself and towards others. Simultaneously you would want to do this. I think in my practice, I only came to this understanding very late, that, for example, like equanimity is very important. I was always thinking there's sympathetic joy, or joy, simply, which is very important among the four aspects of true love. This is what the four Brahma abodes are. But other than happiness and joy, the I would say it's also very important to practice equanimity. Basically, like when sufferings bog you down, you feel like you deserve it, but sometimes you really don't. And sometimes you have to like sort of fight back, but how do you fight back without hatred? How do you fight back without becoming too angry, controlling your anger, just like pushing away those feelings of self-doubt, of low self-worth. Uh, you want to do that without negativity. Uh, but so you stand strong. That's what equanimity is, and it's very important as well. And compassion is also extremely important. I used to think that if I showed compassion in public, if I cried in public, then others would hurt me. But if your power of faith is strong enough, and eventually you'll obviously not even have to worry about this at all because of your meditative capacity, you will be able to cry in front of other people without fearing that other people will hurt you as a result. And even if they did, seeing your so-called weakness, which it really isn't, um, that you would be able to take it completely fine when other people tried to hurt you in your state of so-called weakness. And loving kindness, um, I don't really know what that entails yet. to be honest. But I'm assuming that that's also really important. And maybe loving kindness is yeah, I like to think about it very simply as in kindness is when you do something for other people. So kindness can, I guess, let me just say that it means, even though it probably doesn't mean exactly this. No, almost it definitely does not mean exactly this, but I'll just say that loving kindness, we can say like compassion, equanimity, and joy are states of mind. Now, kindness, we let's just say in this video, it means taking action or being intentionally uh, in a state of non-action. So, how do the three states of mind? How do you actually help others with these three states of mind? You have to take action with compassion. You have to take action with joy and equanimity. Or in some cases, you actually don't take action, and that is the best for other people. So, yeah, loving kindness is the discernment to go ahead and actually take action or be intentionally inactive. I'll just say that that's the meaning of loving kindness in this video.